All right, today we're looking at the Arcturus Vanguard Hi-Capa, and I have the 4.3 version here. This has been the gun that I've been using to play for the past month or so. I've been using this exclusively, and I have actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I do need to say that this is a pre-release version. I got this like a year ago, before they even came out as a sample. And I just, for whatever reason, haven't had time to make a video on it until now. So now I'm making a video on it, and we're going to go through sort of all the good and bad there is about this gun. So, gun, it's a 4.3 Hi-Capa, and it comes with a compensator as well as a red dot mount, so you can mount an RMR on top of the gun. My pre-release version did not have that, but that is something that comes with them, I believe, as long as you pick the RMR version. They do also make a version that has a standard Hi-Capa, like this type of sight. So just make sure you get the right version, depending on what you want. And features on the outside, it has an extended slide catch right here. I don't like extended slide catches. That's just the way that I am. But some of you may like this. I do know that this is a very popular thing. A lot of people prefer having the extended slide catch on there. So that is there. It's similar to like the gold match. There is an ambidextrous safety selector, so it's on both sides. The beaver tail safety is pinned, so it does not, it doesn't really function. So it's just there for comfort. It doesn't actually stop it from firing if you don't hold it down. So usually on Hi-Capas you have to hold down the beaver tail. In this case, you do not have to, because it has been pinned down. And it is a comfortable one, so there's no real reason to get an aftermarket beaver tail unless you want to have the functionality of it. If you don't care about the functionality, this one is very comfortable and it's very nice. You do have some machined screws here, which are nice. On the trigger, you have an adjustable over travel inside of there, so you can stick an Allen key in there and adjust the over travel of the trigger. There's no pre-travel adjustment, just the over travel. The grip is decently textured. It's pretty smooth, but there's definitely enough texture there, and it is a sort of aesthetic style, so it does look cool if that's the style that you like. It has a double undercut here, so you can get a decent purchase on it if you want to. And that's about it for the outside. It does have a fiber optic front sight, and I'll start getting into some of the more important details. So I'm going to remove this slide here, and I'm going to go over the coolest feature that this gun has that sets it apart from everything else. The magazine release on here is a reversible magazine release. So you can swap this magazine release to the left-hand side. So for lefties, you can put it over here to be able to release the mag a lot easier. Mainly the reason that lefties would want it is because it will prevent accidental releasing of the magazine release. I do know that it is very common for lefties to accidentally hit the magazine release on their Hi-Capas just because of where the placement of the button is. But you can flip it to the other side, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quick, because it only takes a few seconds. Make sure you hold on to this side that protrudes, the button side. Hold on to that with your finger, and then you can take it's a Torx. I don't know what size it is, but it goes into this screw hole here. And we can remove it. There is a little spring in there that I'll show you in a second. So basically, if you take it out and you want to put it back in, you have it sitting like so, and then you take the gun and you put it in through the side that you want the button to be on, and just basically you have to be very gentle with it and line it up without letting the spring fall down. And once it's lined up, you can see on the other side that it's going through properly. You can put the little locking piece right here. It will go back into the gun, and then you can put the little screw in the hole and then screw back in. And this is reversible again, as I said, so you can put it either left-handed or right-handed, which is very, very, very cool. And you can see on the magazine it has a special So obviously it has the standard side cutout here, but then it also has a left-handed side cutout. So it has two cutouts on it. They're at different heights, but that doesn't matter. That's just because of the way that the release is designed. And then it allows it to lock in place either left or right-handed. Now I usually just use my Tokyo Marui magazines. These work just fine, and they lock in place just fine inside of the gun. Most everything in here should be pretty standard. You may need to do minor fitment to make aftermarket parts work, but pretty much everything should be standard Tokyo Marui spec in here, which is nice. And going over here to the rest of the gun does not come with short strokes. The only upgrade I've done to this gun is putting the short strokes in, and that's just because the way that I shoot my gun, if the slide catch is extended, it won't lock back, so I might as well just remove the lock back function and make it a little bit snappier with some short strokes, which I did. But the spring out of the box is a pretty snappy spring, so it doesn't necessarily need the short strokes. I just put in there because why not? It uses a steel CNC machined guide rod and an aluminum CNC machined guide plug, which is nice. Those are two very high quality items that are a big deal, and I'm happy that they chose to make them actually nice in this gun. We can go ahead and remove them. So aluminum machined guide plug, and then a steel machined guide rod, so you shouldn't have to worry about having any of these two parts break. I know the guide rod is something that breaks somewhat often if you have really strong springs. Alright, barrel. If you want to remove the compensator, you need an Allen key, and basically how this works is the Allen key shoves into the front end. So if you look in there, it has a little Allen key spot, and it shoves in, and it is just obviously your typical lefty loosey righty tighty, and it uses a 10mm Allen key is what you need on here to remove the compensator. I recommend attaching the compensator when it's in the gun, so you can make sure it's timed properly, because there's no like locking piece in here. So if you tighten it when it's crooked, it will be crooked. So you need to tighten it when it's perfectly straight on here, right? And if you remove the compensator, it just is a 4/3 length steel outer barrel, which is nice. Now the probably the worst part about this gun is that they chose to go with a non-Tokyo Marui spec hop-up chamber. So this is more sort of like a WE hop-up chamber and barrel system, where they are sort of locked together. They're not the typical way where you sort of turn to the side and pull it out. These are locked in place, which is a little bit annoying, especially because the outer barrel is nice. There's no real reason to replace the outer barrel. But if you want to replace the hop-up chamber, which is a very popular thing to do, I love changing the hop-up chambers. That's kind of the easiest upgrade to do, is to change the hop-up chamber. You cannot change the hop-up chamber unless you also change the outer barrel, which is kind of annoying, again, because the outer barrel is nice. So you have to change both if you want to change one. To remove the hop-up chamber, it's this little piece right here. You unscrew that Phillips head, and then it just slides straight out. Now, the barrel comes with this O-ring right here, this little tiny one, to stabilize it. I found that that is not really doing its job very well, so I put a chunky O-ring on here, and this one actually does the job, which is nice. So I guess that is the only other upgrade. I lied to a second ago. I did the short strokes, and I put a little stabilizer O-ring in there. And it's just a standard, you know, like typical like TM style system, just the actual chamber itself is not TM spec. The people before me, this was a well-loved Hi-Capa when I got it. They stripped out the screw, but you shouldn't have to worry about that if you're careful. It just is, that was out of my control. Hop-up screws are pretty small, and they're usually pretty cheap, so if you want to replace them with better ones, you could, but they should be fine as long as you don't strip them and go out of your way, or not pay attention and strip them. I have put some little shims on here to make it fit inside of the frame better, which is an optional thing. You don't have to do that. I just chose to do that because I am a little bit picky when it comes to things. But yeah, if you want to change out the hop-up chamber, you unfortunately have to get a different outer barrel as well, which is just the way it is. I wish they went with the standard spec, because everything else is pretty standard, but this is wildly not. The red dot plate is removable. If you want to remove the red dot plate, you can do it without removing the hop-up chamber, or sorry, the blowback chamber, or blowback unit, sorry. But I'm going to remove the blowback unit first because I want to go over that first. So blowback unit is pretty typical. There is a difference, which I'll go over in a second. So you have the normal screw in the back, and then you have to do these two screws on top where the red dot mounting plate is. And voila. It is essentially a standard TM spec blowback unit. The only difference being that it has these two tapped holes here for the red dot mount. The nozzle is just the standard TM spec nozzle, so you can put any sort of upgrade nozzle you want in there. The blowback unit, however, is standard spec, except for you have these special new screw holes. If you have like a normal aftermarket blowback unit, if you put it in, it will go in properly and you would be able to use it. The only issue is you're not going to have the screw holes that you need to screw the mounting plate in. So you will just have to deal with that if you want to upgrade the blowback unit. Let's see. So basically TM spec, but they had to change it a tiny bit to accommodate their red dot system. And then the last thing to do is remove this little tiny screw here to remove the plate. And this removes the rear sight separately from the actual plate. And it is just a gaping hole there. And basically, if you get the red dot version, it will come with a plate that you can replace on there, which is nice. I guess I should point out that the front sight is a standard dovetail, so you don't need to worry about getting a special sight. Just a Hi-Capa front sight will fit on here. It may need minor fitments like usual, but nothing crazy out of the ordinary. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't have much else that I need to say about this. I should mention that it is pretty snappy. It does shoot really good. Oh. Shoots pretty nice. It does not feel sluggish or anything at all, even without the short strokes, which I can show you here. I should also mention that it is cool how the compensator mates with the slide quite well. It does look cool, so when it shoots, it'll stay in place like that. But yeah, now we have no short strokes, and you see how it locks back. But if I hold it how I normally hold it, right, watch. It will not lock back because I'm holding it the way I usually do. Whereas if I like hold it weird, it will lock back. So that's just kind of showing that. But you can see how snappy it is. It's really snappy. It doesn't need the short strokes. I just put them in there because I might as well have them if the slide stop's not going to work for the way that I shoot it. So that is that's the video. That's all I have to say. I do think this is actually a pretty nice gun, and it does come in many different lengths. There's a 5.1 version, as well as the 4.3 version. I have the 4.3 version because the compensator is cool, and I don't really need to attach anything on the front. But yeah, that is it. Have a nice day. Let's actually see here. All right, there we go. Adios. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if this video was useful for you. And make sure you check out the link down below. That is a link to our Discord server, and you are welcome to join. All right, have a nice day.